For joining us today. My name is Chris Shields. I head up product marketing here at Gurucul, and I will be moderating today's live session. I am joined by Dave Croto, one of our senior solution architects with over 20 years in the cybersecurity industry, working at companies like Splunk, Symantec, and Exabeam. Before we jump in to the Democast, a few housekeeping notes. Please, we encourage you to ask questions throughout the session. You can type them in the box labeled questions just under the webinar window, and you can submit a question anytime, and we will answer as many of those live questions at the end. Usually within 48 hours of this live session, you'll get a thank you email with a link to the recording so that you can review it at your convenience and leisure. Sometimes BrightTalk does default to 480p. So if your resolution looks not so great, you can adjust the settings. I think there's a gear button down in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you can increase your resolution as needed. Hello, and welcome to today's live Democast. Having access to the highest risk cases with comprehensive information and context is essential to accelerating investigations and responding swiftly to threats. In today's live Democast, Dave will show you how the Gurucul REVEAL security analytics platform empowers you to effectively manage your caseload and expedite those investigations by prioritizing cases based on risk and with 360-degree context. And with that, Dave, take us away.
Thanks, Chris. Hello, everyone. As Chris mentioned, I'm Dave Croto. I'm a solutions architect here at Gurucul. Let me share my screen. And so, as Chris mentioned, the challenges with legacy SIEMs and some other next-gen SIEMs. Can you see my screen, everybody? Just give me a heads up.
Can you still see it? I clicked the wrong button. I just want to make sure
okay.
In the screen.
They typically fall short in terms of investigation speed, remediation, and effectiveness. And based on the products that I previously worked in, I believe that Gurucul has really done a great job at filling in those gaps. In the REVEAL platform, as you can see by my landing page here, my dashboard here, we prioritize risk based on we visualize risk to help the SOC respond quicker and mitigate to risk. We take that TDIR approach to streamlining and that response process. We visualize risk for both users and entities from 0 to 100. As you can see by the dashboard here, we also establish risk profiles for high-risk users and assets based on their business cases in the environment or their position happens to be. You can see here, we also profile risk based on vulnerabilities that we see here. We also take advantage of the MITRE ATT&CK framework here in the TTPs, and we associate the anomalies in the alerts with each of the TTPs that we see here to give you the ability to kind of drill down and almost kind of pivot on the MITRE ATT&CK framework to address the threats in the anomalies that you see in your environment. We also take the approach of visualizing that risk from a kill chain perspective as well. So what you're looking at here is the kill chain here, and we're looking at all of the different anomalies that have been flagged within the organization, and you can drill down into each one of these to establish your approach or your investigations here. We also typically what we'll see if you are an analyst on the team is up here, you will see the notable incidents response page or incidents page here. And I can drill down into that. And if you remember from the previous page, you see that there was over about 320 open cases. However, with role-based access, if I drill down in the incidents as a specific user or analyst on the team, I will only see the cases that have been assigned to me. And we can also see this histogram that kind of marches back in time and shows me the criticality of the cases that were open. We also have this threat distribution that shows the classifiers of all of the specific cases that we have within the environment that have been spawned here. So we take the 15 cases and we break it into these classifiers. So if you as part of your organization, if you're going through, let's say, a cloud migration, and you want to only look at the cases that have been flagged based on the new initiatives that you have. Let's say a cloud migration, you may have some CASB, you may have some guard duty alerts associated with open cases here. You can use these classifiers to drill in and filter on those open cases that you do want to look at here. So as I scroll down, I see this tabular view of all of the open cases that I'm looking at here. Again, that I am typically responsible for or administratively responsible for based on the my role as an analyst here. So you see the case ID, you see the specific anomaly accounts associated with each case that you see here, and some other information about when the date of the case was opened and the actual owner of the case from the analyst standpoint here as well. So I am GRA admin, and you can kind of look at all of the cases that I have opened up here. And if we want to look at all of the individual anomalies associated with open case, we can just drill down into that as well and just take a look at the anomalies here. I can also come up here and I can just come in and sort on the specific risk score that I have here, or a number of different attributes that allow me to kind of slice and dice the different views that I'm looking at in terms of the open cases that I do have. So what I've done here is I've just kind of pivoted and selected the different cases based on the amount of risk that I've had that has been actually shown for a specific user or an identity in the environment here. So I can see here this one person, Henry Jacobs. If I click left on the case ID number here, I can see all of the different anomalies associated with this case in the culminating risk score associated with each one of these to really help me establish why this person has such a high risk score here. I can address each one of these. So if you look at, for instance, the notable cases that we have here, for, let's say, for Henry, we see this potential adversary man-in-the-middle attack that we can kind of look at here. And I can individually look at one of the occurrences of this suspicious phishing attempt here and do a lot of research just based on that as well. I can come over and I can add my comments to the case. I can assign it to another user on the team. I can change the ownership. I can close it, and I can close it as risk managed. And if I just close it as risk managed, what I'm typically saying as an analyst is I have enough tribal knowledge to understand that this is indeed a false positive. And I want to push the fact that I've actually managed this risk back into the learning of the machine learning model on the back end for any specific case associate or any specific anomaly that has been flagged in this specific case. Or if I don't have enough of that tribal knowledge, I can also schedule a model review. But I can also, again, I can respond at the anomaly level here. So if I decide I don't want to close all of the incidents from for this specific user, all of the anomalies for this specific user here, Henry Jacobs, I can just extend my threat hunt by looking at all of the different anomalies associated with this case. So of course, I can, do a number of things here for this. I can actually investigate that. So if I drill down into investigate, I will start seeing all of the different raw messages associated with that. So what I'm really doing at this point is I'm looking at all of the associated raw messages with this specific potential man-in-the-middle attack, deviation from the internal email. So for all intents and purposes, we won't spend a lot of time on this, but what we're seeing here is an internal email that's taking advantages of trust because it's indeed internal here, and because it's coming from those internal communication channels to spread throughout the environment. And these are kind of newer types of threats that you found from sophisticated kind of phishing toolkits such as Evil Proxy and Modlishkia. And we've seen this in, as early as October of 2024. We've seen some dark trace customers with internal emails that's led to session tokens and granting access to bad actors despite having MFA in the environment here. So in any event, if I'm actually extending my threat hunt on this specific event, I can actually see that I have only one employee, internal employee, who has been compromised, although I've actually have 84 different recipients here. So as part of my threat hunt, if you will, I can actually go through here and look at all of the affected employees here. You can see here that there are obviously 84 different recipients, and I want to take immediate action required based on that here. So I can actually go in and I can look at the raw message here, and you can see here the different cases. And if I want to look at the blast radius for each one of these here, I can just add that to the new search here, and you can see that I have, again, 83 different recipients from this immediate action required from this subject email line that I do have here. So because what Gurucul does in terms of adding or enriching data at time of ingest, there's a number of things that I can do here. I can go to the user profile page here and extend my threat hunt to look at the sequence of events that have taken place either prior to or after the specific attempt here, or I can execute a playbook right out of that. So let's say, for instance, I want to reset this specific user. I want to reset his login. I can actually come in and run a playbook right off of this page here. So if I go into select playbook, and if I want to, I'm actually going to search for the specific case here. And if I want to run this email quarantine playbook here, I can execute that right out of the SOAR playbook here. So what I'm doing here is I'm using this quarantine playbook. It will automatically quarantine or block the emails, not only for Henry, but for the other 83 recipients that I have within the environment here. I can do a number of things within these playbooks. I can look at the specific IP addresses and domains and block them for any involvement with the attack. And I can blacklist them automatically, or obviously I'm showing you here how I can do that from here. I can also force a password reset for a session token, and for any sort of session token that were indeed stolen, and the playbook can force MFA or even force updating, filtering to the email security platform that you have within the environment here. So these playbooks can create a lot of functionality within them, with the and or gates that you can set up within the playbook itself. So if I want to go to a specific response playbook and how you can actually set that up within the environment here, if I go to the response playbooks and I look at any given playbook here out of the box, we have a number of these playbooks that you can kind of look at here. If I want to look at an extended playbook here that has a number of those gates that I was talking about earlier, I can go into an existing one and show you specifically how easy it is to build one of these playbooks with the organic SOAR platform that's part of the Gurucul REVEAL platform here. You can see here that this specific playbook addresses not only threat intelligent lookups, but also mitigates actions with ServiceNow. So we create a ServiceNow incident. Now I want to perfectly clear that we do have integrations with more than just ServiceNow from a trouble ticketing solution here as well. We support a number of different other SOARs, if you will, and other case management tools, like, for instance, Jira. So we're actually creating a incident within a ServiceNow, and we're also going through the process here and deleting all of the malicious payload from an EDR perspective here as well. So if you want to look at and step through this, we can see here that the playbook starts with an event that likely, in this case, detects the suspicious file and hash that we showed you earlier and links to a known threat here. The playbook then queries VirusTotal and then actually looks at the reputation for that file hash. And then it triggers the file hash threat indicator and is detected, and then indeed opens a case within ServiceNow. It updates the playbook or the actual threat intelligence feed within our product as well, and it deletes or quarantines the actual file that is malicious from this standpoint here. So obviously from this standpoint, we will then update the actual Gurucul incident response case here as well, and decay that risk score that we showed you earlier and close the case either automatically within the product itself. So there's a number of things that are happening here so that you can take advantage of that as well within the platform itself. So from that standpoint, we also have the capability of coming in and creating, a number of default email templates that get sent out based on those emails that you're actually looking at here as well. So if you as an organization want to come in and set some sort of case update emails that go out to people or templates, you can see here that we have a number of these templates out of the box. You can create your own template that indeed gets sent out to the individual analyst if a case is either, you've accepted that risk, or we've reopened an existing case, or you can come in here and see some of those email templates that you can go in and automate the whole remediation process and send that, specific emails to individual analysts on the team. But if you can imagine, there is a closed loop with the remediation steps that you are taking and how we decay that risk that we showed you in the previous dashboard here as well. So again, throughout the whole process here, we have the ability to come in and remediate risk either manually or automatically from an unsupervised position based on those playbooks that we saw before. The playbooks can also have a number of gates that go through. Before I block somebody, obviously I need to go in and get, block somebody from an Azure AD perspective or make them reset their password. There could be a number of gates that I need to go through to make sure that I have their management approval. And those can be built into the incident response SOAR playbooks as well. So that completes my demonstration. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the demo. That concludes the demo portion of today's live Democast.